Hello and welcome to Suite 301. We're coming to you live from Pittsburgh, PA, with an action-packed show this month. It's April. It's May. Which is it? I can't.
May.
It's May. It's May already, right?
Yep.
It's playoff season. We're here to give you all the latest news and updates from all across Cold Club Sports.
Remember to like our Facebook pages, follow our Twitter accounts for all the latest news and media, and subscribe to our YouTube channels for videos from around our leagues and to watch previous episodes of Suite 301.
All right, Christian. Well, without further ado, I mentioned we have an action-packed show. We're going to look into the past. We're going to look into the present. We're going to look into the future. Let's start with the past because we just came off 2 basketball national championship runs. And so let's welcome to the set Matt Hazy, Director of Men's Basketball Operations.
Hello. How is everyone?
Doing great, Matt.
Good.
Matt, the men's director of basketball operations. We just got through the men's tournament. UCLA is crowned national champions. An awesome tournament. Really, really competitive tournament. So why don't you take us through that bracket? Talk to us how the tournament went.
Absolutely. So the tournament went great. As you can see there, kind of the results of what's going on there at the tournament. So we had UCLA, obviously your national championships, but they took down Boston College there in the first round. Florida State takes down Xavier in the first round as well. James Madison gets an upset over UConn, a really hot James Madison team, as you can see at the national championship. They made it all the way to the national championship tournament. They gave UCLA a great game. Christian Holcomb, had 14, 15 straight points there in the national championship game for James Madison, and then UCLA just slowly crawled back into it and ended up winning. But overall, every team came, showed out, played hard, very excited and great time just to watch all these teams play for the first time.
I was over at the women's basketball championship, so I did not get to see most of the early rounds of the men's. I didn't get to see any of it, but I was present for the national championship game. Wow, was that a ball game. JMU, UCLA, fantastic basketball game. Just battling down to the wire. JMU came out of the gates flying. You said Christian Holcomb. I hadn't been exposed to him yet, but watching him play the first 5 minutes of that national title game, I thought he was going to put up 80.
Yeah, he was hot.
Yes, he was. And he was so fast.
Yes.
Nobody on the court could catch him. But UCLA persevered. Congratulations to the Bruins. Fantastic final. So what do we got? We've got we're going to be joined by UCLA, right? Let's welcome we got a couple of the same guys that joined us on the last show. We interviewed them about being the number one seed. There they are. Look at them with their national champ swag on. There they are, the national championship Bruins.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Doing well.
Good. Hopefully everything went well as far as travel's back and everything like that. Did you guys have any buzz on campus when you guys returned?
I'd say by our closer friends, our women's team as well here congratulated us and the staff and whatnot. So it was good getting some love from people who's been supporting us all year long.
Awesome, guys. Congratulations once again. Great tournament for you guys. Other than, obviously winning and everything, how was the overall experience for you guys coming into Erie, new town, for the weekend, seeing these other teams compete?
It was fun. As you guys know, travel was a bit tough, but once we got there, it was really cool to see just everybody that was there, all the teams, a bunch of great players. We're really thankful and grateful to just be a part of a great event, and it just made winning the whole thing just that much sweeter, just knowing that they are very good teams here, and it was just really overall just a great experience for everyone.
Good, guys.
Absolutely, Gabriel. That's what I love about our national championship is that you end up with the 8 best teams out there in the country. So if you give 98% on the court that day, you're going to lose. So you got to bring 100%. You got to have your A game out there if you want to lift that trophy, which you guys experienced. Hey, I'm going to turn to RJ real quick. And RJ, you were injured in that national championship game with a shoulder injury, going for a loose ball. How you feeling now?
I'm doing better than I was that day. I'm still going to the training, getting it looked at. just to kind of shore up some things. So I still got some like discomfort there, but it's all good. I'll be fine. I mean, a little boo boo here and there, but it was worth it.
The W helps ease the pain, right?
Of course.
Of course. Johnny, MVP performance out there. How did it feel for you?
It was just an amazing experience, coming into Erie, we only had one thing on our mind. And, I think it really hit me like coming into our first game, just getting a chance to look at the trophy and to look at, the MVP thing sort of just before that first game. It really sort of like, kicked something in my mind saying that like, I don't want to leave this place, without that, so that's what we've been working for, all season long, in our practices and, during the regional tournament. So it just made it so much more, worth it just to, come out on top of the championship and bring those 3 things home.
One thing that I was really impressed with was the crowd you brought. I mean, obviously you traveled 3,000 miles to get to Erie, and I'm sure when talking with Ryan Norris on the broadcast, he probably talked about this, but talk about the fans coming out, supporting you guys, what that meant to you.
It really meant like everything to us, and that wasn't like they just showed up for the national championship. It was the same crowd every single game we played. They traveled to every road game, every home game, like it was everything. And I vividly remember one of the family members, literally after we had just played SC and we beat them for the first time, he literally was like, "You guys better go all the way. Like I'm planning a trip to Erie." Like they were ready to go before we would even know we were going. Like, so it was like a planned thing. Like they were ready to go, and for them to be out there and be as loud as they were and just support us the whole season, it really means a lot. And we could not have done this without them.
Now looking at next year, what does the team look like? Are you 3 coming back? Are you graduating? What do the Bruins look like for the 23-24 season?
So we're bringing back most of our roster. Obviously, us 3 right here will be graduating. I think they have an extra quarter. I'll be graduating. Mezzi was another starter will be graduating. Jared Carroll, another senior, will be graduating. But as we said before, our team is extremely deep. When you look at the stat book, it won't show how talented our team is, how good guys are. So, you'll see some names pop up next year. Cody Yamaki, Jack Williams, Benji Moore, Finn Barkinez, just a whole list of guys, Joseph Dolaway. I could go on and on, but their stats next year will begin to pop out. You'll get to know their names. I trust in their vision for the entire team. We have Misha taking over as president, Evan taking over as VP, so I trust their vision. They're some of like the smartest guys I've known, like from a basketball perspective, their basketball IQ. So, they'll be back next year. They'll be back just as strong. I mean, the play style will be different, obviously losing like big pieces like Gabe and Johnny, but I believe, they have the talent still to bring, be able to make it to the national tournament next year, still be able to win regionals, all that stuff. So I trust in their ability going forward.
And as RJ mentioned, I have an extra quarter, but I'm going out on top. So I'm done. I'm moving to the coaching role. I'll help out like coach. I might join Cam on the coaching staff, but I'm good. I made it. I'm done.
Go out on top. That's the way to do it. And like you said, you guys are really a deep team. I was really impressed with. I think his name was Cody, the point guard. I thought he was a really, really solid point guard coming off the bench. So it does look very promising for the Bruins for 23-24. I guess my last question, where is the trophy currently?
So it's at my apartment right now. Everybody got a kick out of it. On our flight home, it was like people were taking photos with us. People were high-fiving us. They were walking down the airplane. And literally, I have a picture. Like the pilots took a picture, like in the cockpit with the trophy. Like it was a really cool experience. They're gonna put it in our rec center, the John Wooden Center. They're just gonna
never heard of them
because it's a big trophy. Yeah, I know. There, and then they did say we could hang the banner. So we'll be able to hang our banner in the John Wooden Center as well, which is it's just really surreal. Like where we practice, like literally above our court where we practice is the 42, like Jackie Robinson. So we'll be able to actually hang like our banner, next to it. Just to bring any banner to UCLA is just really just an honor, and especially in basketball with the rich history we have here. really surreal, and it almost doesn't even feel real.
I think what you guys are going to find is, as you hang that banner, as that trophy gets on display in the rec center, that, future UCLA Bruins, kids that are in high school right now that play basketball are going to walk on that campus as freshmen and say, whoa, look at that thing. How do I get involved with that program? And I think what you're going to see is just a big boost of interest in your program just from incoming freshmen that didn't even know you existed. Right now, they're going to see that hardware, and they're going to come out, and you're going to see a spike in your tryouts and everything moving forward, which will be great for your program. So congratulations on the win. Terrific group of guys, not just basketball players. Terrific group of guys. Fantastic job. So proud of you guys, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
quick shout out to Kyle Harnett and Michael Molu, who weren't able to make the trip with us to Erie, but there'll also be big pieces coming back next year. So we'll be locked and loaded, and we'll catch some games, and we're excited to see where they take the program.
Good
Beautiful.
stuff. All right, boys, enjoy the off season. We'll look forward to see the Bruins when we tip off back in November.
Yeah, they were, just a great, respectful. If there's anybody from the club sports department at UCLA watching, they did UCLA proud out in Erie. Not only just winning the national championship, but just a great group of guys, and it was great to interact with them, and really, really happy that they were the team to come out on top. So, congratulations again to them.
All right, well, let's turn back to Matt real quick and just go through our final top 20, how things shook out after the national championship and the final rankings to close out the season.
Absolutely. So as you can see there on your screen, UCLA, the unanimous number one, getting all 11 first-place votes there after winning the national championship. James Madison moves all the way up from 13 to 2 after their hot run there at the tournament. Ultimately losing by 3 to UCLA. Florida State moves up from 14 to 3, and then rounding out the top 5 there is Penn State and USC. And then, as you can see, the rest is kind of similar to the pre-tournament top 20.
All right, good stuff. Now, as we turn the page looking at the 23-24 season, what do we got in terms of new teams coming on board?
As far as new teams, since last Sweet 301, we've had Purdue Fort Wayne join on out there in the Great Lakes region, and we also just had Boston University join today as well.
Okay.
Up in the New England. So
such a new hot stove item that they didn't even make the cut on the slideshow.
Yeah, exactly. They were about 20 minutes beforehand.
So what's that bring our running total to for next year already?
It would be 132 teams.
132. All right.
So we've had 5 new teams for
5
next
new
season.
teams.
Yep.
We're at a +5. Okay, good stuff. I'll bet you that's a +12 by the time we tip off. All right, good stuff. So anybody out there, looking to join the excitement of the NCBBA, Matt's the guy you want to talk to. What housekeeping items do we want to close out the season with people should be worried about?
Yeah, absolutely. So All-American nomination forms. I've extended the deadline to next Friday. So please get those in. Those are sent out. If you need a form, please reach out to me. If you're nominating players, please make sure their stats are online and on the website. If they're not, I cannot select them for their All-Region team and then even moving on to the All-American team. Also, the 23-24 renewal LPAs. Please make sure you get those in as soon as you can. It's easier to get those started now rather than waiting until you get back on campus in the fall. Other than that, I believe that's about it.
We'll be setting a date for a league meeting that take place this offseason this summer, correct?
In June, yeah. I believe it was spoken briefly, but it might be June 20th.
All right.
But that will be confirmed later.
All right, sounds good. All right, well, great stuff, Matt. I think that closes out our men's portion of the show. Let's bring Alec Verhoff on, Director of Women's Basketball Operations, to touch base on how things went on the women's side.
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
We
Yes,
can.
sir.
Perfect.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
We're doing really, really well, Alec. We just talked with Matt. The men's tournament, huge success. And I know on the women's side, same thing. Talk to us about let's bring the bracket up and kind of take us through the gist of the women's tournament, how that went.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think the tournament went great. We had a great field of teams. That first game there, we had SIUE and Penn State kick us off that first day. It was a close game. pretty much most games throughout the entire tournament were close, with the exception of Nevada in the first round. Even as we got into the semifinals there, Ohio State and SIUE was a pretty close game, with Ohio State coming out on top. Boston College, Nevada, that was probably what you would consider the biggest upset of the tournament, with the defending champs going down. But, again, that game was pretty close throughout. And then Nevada, Ohio State meet up in the championship, and Nevada controlled that game pretty much the whole time. Won up by 16. They were up by double digits for, pretty much that whole game. And, they definitely deserve to be crowned national champions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like Sandy was over on the women's, I was at the men's and didn't get to watch the women's tournament. And we could talk with Lexi more about it, but I do know, Nevada was the unknown, a new team, and when they got out to Erie, they had 6 players, I believe, come out with them. But I mean, I guess we can talk with Lexi about it. But from your standpoint, what was it about them that they were able to persevere and win that tournament over some really, really good competition?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, it just looked like they were always calm. They were always under control. They never panicked. The first game, UMass had a pretty good sized roster, but they didn't really seem to throw, any pressure at them. But Boston College was there watching that game. Ohio State was there watching them against Boston College. They picked up on 6 players. They threw some press at them, but it really never affected Nevada. They got through it through both games. They limited their mistakes, and they were obviously pretty well conditioned to be able to play 60.
Yeah.
In games like that. But no, they did a really good job of handling whatever was thrown at them.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's welcome to the show from the University of Nevada Wolfpack, the national champs, Lexi Kruljack. There she is. Lexi, welcome to the show.
How are you guys doing? Thank you.
We can hear you. Sounds great. Lexi, congratulations on the national title. How was that ride home? How was that trip?
It was long. The whole team didn't really sleep that night on Sunday. Our flight left really early out of Pittsburgh the next morning, and like I said, I think we celebrated all night, kind of just had fun at the hotel room. But yeah, long flight home, but it was a blast.
I don't know if you happened to catch the interview with UCLA just before this, but they were talking about how the flight crew on their plane wanted pictures with their trophy and so forth like that. Did you have any experiences with the trophy at the airport?
Actually we didn't. We had the trophy shipped to us because we were flying Spirit, and it would have been a little expensive to check that in, and then also check it in on our flight from Vegas to Reno because we had a layover in Vegas.
Gotcha. Well, hey, the story of the tournament, I mean, not only did Nevada prove themselves as absolutely the national champion, taking down the reigning national champion, beating a really formidable Ohio State team. But the talk of the tournament was about you only having 6 players. And we just asked Alec what he thought the difference was, how you were able to survive such a short roster. And I remember talking to you ladies, you mentioned something about your conditioning and how you scrimmage a lot of men's teams and how you felt like that really puts you in a conditioning level where you can just run and run and run and not really get tired. Is that accurate?
Our whole roster pretty much lives in the gym. You go in at any time of the day, and at least 2 of us are bound to be there. I could stay at the gym 8 hours at a time. I've gone at 2 p.m. and haven't left till midnight. But yeah, the men's, we've got a bunch of guys in the rec that we will scrimmage against, and that's pretty much our practices. Is we'll go from 9 to 10:30 at night and just run full court the entire time, nonstop, to 15 games to 15, and then the guys will switch. So we'll have a new 5 on, and we just stay on the time. So we're definitely a well-conditioned team. But beyond that, I think all of us just have really great IQ and know how to conserve energy in a way that we know where to expend it and where to reserve it. It's
one of the other things I thought was impressive is, a lot of these teams, not all, but a lot of them are player coached. But obviously, with 6 people on the roster, you were a player coach team. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of the chess match, the strategy, the how many fouls does so and so have? How many fouls do I have? Do I need to sub right now? I thought you did a fantastic job of monitoring, of coaching the game from the court, and really avoiding any foul trouble by, not getting anyone knocked out. Great substitutions. I thought that was something that stood out to me, that it wasn't something we normally would see from a player coach team, especially with such a short bench where there isn't really time for the decision maker to take rests. Follow that up, Lexi. MVP of the tournament. Congratulations. Your rebounding, your passing, your shooting, your drive to the hoops. Fantastic. Definitely earned you the MVP honors. One of the things I in talking to you at the event, I asked the girls, I said, 6 players, would you rather have more? Looking back in hindsight, next year, do you want to have more than 6? They said, well, we need to pick up 1 because Lexi's graduating. So they didn't really want too many more. I mean, I know there's 2 players on the roster that weren't able to make the trick, but you're graduating, Lexi. What's next for you in your career?
Actually, as it turns out, I'm considering enrolling at Reno. So I might end up being back for another season. We'll see about that. But if it doesn't turn out, I'll definitely be around in Reno to coach. So you'll see me around next season for sure, either way.
Okay. That sounds like she's coming back.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Give her the microphone, put her in front of half court, and have that big announcement. I guess my question for you, and I always like it's kind of my question I ask all of our guests, is I love to hear the background of, how, you found out about, it's assumed that you all played high school basketball, but how did you come to be on the Nevada club basketball team? Did you know there was a club basketball team when you got to campus? Did you not? How did you find it? That type of stuff.
Yeah, so actually, this is our first season as a club. I had the starting this club back in spring 2022 last year. And then just slowly, step by step, went through, the paperwork that the university required. And then we had intramurals, and I've been here for 3 or 4 years. So I had known a few girls who I knew would be interested in playing. So I reached out to them and let them know what I was thinking, and they said they were all down. So did some research, found the NCBBA online, reached out to Alec, and kind of just step by step ended up making this club. And this was our first season actually active, having practices. So it's kind of definitely a Cinderella story, making it all the way to nationals. So it's really just a surreal experience to see what I envisioned, last spring in 22 come to life, and just to make it all the way to nationals has been absolutely surreal.
Amazing.
One of the things that's interesting, Christian, with only 6 people on the roster, that's not that many people to get to know. So being at the women's event, it's I know all 6 of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
One of the things that's interesting, there's Lexi's sister Jordan's on the team, but there's 2 other twins on the team from her high school.
Wow.
So 4 of the players, 4 of the 6, 60% of the team played high school basketball together.
Wow.
So very impressive. Lexi, when you got back to campus, was there any kind of reception? What did the club sports department have to say about it? I mean, Nevada, this is the second Colt Club Sports national title, as the Nevada Club baseball team won the title a few years back. What would the club sports department have to say about you guys winning? You ladies winning?
Oh yeah, they definitely welcomed us back with some congratulations. There's talk about trying to get a trophy case for club sports. Talk about hanging the banner in the rec center where we practice. Lots of congratulations, from the guys at the rec center. Like I said, we see them practically every day, and without them, we would have made it to nationals for sure. They definitely helped us out a lot. And we've had a lot of girls actually start reaching out about trying to play next season, so we're definitely getting a lot of traction and attention around campus, so that's been awesome.
You're all tournament away, so no, we
don't
we like 6.
I'm coming back. We don't need 7. We got to know.
6 is the number. 6 is the number.
Well, Lexi, great job. Congratulations to you and the rest of the Wolfpack on this national title run and a successful inaugural season of the program. That's impressive feat in itself. We often tell people, a successful first-year program is one that has matching uniforms and plays all their games. Winning and making the playoffs, that's gravy. That's going to the national championship, winning it. It's kind of an unheard of feat. So congratulations to you, your teammates, and everybody involved in the program. That's it.
Thank you.
All right, Lexi, thanks so much for joining us on the show, and we will hope to see you on a court this fall, either coaching or playing.
All right. Alec, turning it over to you. Do we have Alec? There he is.
I'm back. Yeah. What do we have next up on the docket?
Well, what do we have next is the top 20. Take us, the top 15. Take us through the top 15.
Yeah,
the final one.
Last top 15 of the season. Obviously, you see there Nevada is number one, unanimous national champs. Like I said, they've earned every bit of that, undefeated, beating some of the best teams in the country. But then Ohio State, Boston College, SIUE, and Penn State round out that top 5. Not going to go through the whole top 15 here, but as you can see, that top 8, they were all of our national championship tournament teams. So all of them very deserving of their ranking. But, this is last one of the season, so we'll be back next year with it. But, a lot of good basketball in the future.
Yes, Alec, and take us through, housekeeping items on the women's side, similar to men's, I'm assuming. But why don't you take us through those things that the team should be looking out for?
Yeah, I think the most important thing at this point is going to be the paperwork for the league participation agreement, and the reg form. I've sent that out several times. If I'm sending it to the wrong person, please let me know. But, get that back to me, signed and everything before you leave campus. All-Americans, we'll be working on getting those out here pretty soon. The league meeting will be in the near future, most likely next month, so we'll have more information on that in the future, but be on the lookout for that. And, I think those are really the important things.
All right. Well, great job, you and Matt. I know the teams had a great time, put on a great event. Thank you to Erie for their hospitality, 2 great venues that they provided our team. So on to next year. But if you're a team, make sure to get your paperwork in for the 23-24 season as soon as possible, because we'll be tipping off here before you know it.
Exactly. And the sooner we have the LPAs in, the sooner we can look at realignment, where we are, and start making decisions on where the best central location is to go for the national championship in the future. So those are some of the things we'll be working on this summer, is determining where next year's championship goes. And we got a couple ideas up our sleeves for just format changes that might enhance the event for everybody involved. So stay tuned. All right, we're going to head to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with some NCBA baseball updates.
The Game is the official headwear sponsor for Cold Club Sports. They offer our team's quality headwear, such as hats, visors, boonies, and beanies for a great low price. All items are customizable to meet our team's needs. Contact Felicia.Battaglia at coldclubsports.com for all of your headwear needs.
Rawlings is the proud uniform, equipment, and ball sponsor of the National Club Baseball and Softball Associations. Teams receive up to 45% off on all their orders. For more information, including catalogs and price quotes, contact our front office today.
Welcome back, and let's welcome to the set Jimmy Henderson, Director of Division II Baseball Operations, to give us a little update on everything going on in the NCBA world, because it's next.
It is next. We are into the postseason for D2 and D3 with D1 kicking off next weekend, so exciting time.
All right. Well, what do we got? Let's start with D1. Let's knock that out of the way. What do we got in the latest top 20?
Latest top 20. Looks like Auburn made a jump from 11 to 6. Colorado all the way up from being unranked to 13th, and NC State up to 17. Rounding out who got first place votes, Utah State with 15 of them, Grand Canyon with 3, Texas A&M with 1, and then Cal Poly all the way down at 9 overall, but did receive 4 first place votes. And I think we touched on last show, that was probably due just to kind of a lack of games.
Yeah. I mean, they're the reigning champ. Or they're not the reigning champ. They're the reigning
runner-up.
Yeah. Right. Florida State was the reigning champ. But, yeah, Cal Poly looking strong out of the gate, but just not a lot of games under the belt. But we got a new poll coming out this Wednesday, tomorrow, right?
Thursday
it'll come out.
Thursday.
Yep.
So we'll see what shakes up
there.
Yeah, exactly.
Texas A&M's having a heck of a season. If you're not following anybody, follow Texas A&M. Take a peek at what they're doing this year. They look like they're making a deep run to me. My opinion.
Were you the first place vote?
No, I'm Utah State. I'm a Utah State number 1 voter. They've earned it. Young team, strong at the World Series last year, and they were really young. So they're going to be good for a couple of years. Plus, they're going to rebuild.
Were you a preseason number 1, Utah State?
No. I was a Florida State preseason number 1.
I know Jake Anderson's watching too.
Yeah,
know it.
I know it. Venmo you some coin on the side.
Probably.
Okay,
you're watching. I know it.
All right, let's slide on to D2. Give us an update on the D2 polls.
D2 polls, this came out last week. Only 2 teams receiving first-place votes in Grand Canyon and Ohio State, and Ohio State just continues to close the gap a little bit there. But Grand Canyon, so far, wire to wire, was the preseason number 1 and has not lost that spot all year.
Grand Canyon, their club sport, they're everywhere. Obviously, D1, D2, they're in softball, just top club programs all across the board.
I got a chance to talk to Coach Kim Carpenter of their D2 team last year, and he said it's just a very organized group. The school takes it very serious and just gives them the resources to succeed.
Yeah, man.
But rounding out the poll, High Point makes a big jump from 10 to 4. We have 3 new unranked teams that got into the last poll with Missouri S&T, Temple, and Westchester. And other than that, not a whole lot of movement, just a couple spots here and there.
All right. Good stuff.
I think now we will talk about some regional brackets.
Yes. So we got D2 regionals kicking off this weekend. Walk us through what kind of playoff action is going on in D2.
Yeah, first up we'll have the Chesapeake region, 1-4 matchup being Montclair State and Maryland, with the 2-3 being Penn State and Temple. And everybody but Maryland there made a regional last year, so a bunch of experience and looking to see who will come out.
All right, and that's held where?
Stern Family Field in Du Bois, PA. We used that last year. However, for a different regional, the new Penn was there last year. This year they get the Chesapeake. I actually just got off the phone with Matt Cecchio. He's a great resource for us, and he let me know that we're all square, and he's excited.
All right, good stuff. Turf Field?
Turf Field.
All right. So you're playing ball no matter what.
Yeah.
All right, what's the next regional you got to update us on?
Next up, Dixie. The 1-4 will be High Point versus North Georgia, and then Central Florida and Georgia Southern to wrap up the evening. Same thing. 3 of these teams, everybody but North Georgia, was a regional team last year.
Okay. Being held at Legion Field.
Legion Field. That's where we were last year. They did a good job, and they're excited to have us as well.
All right.
Next up, the Great American. Top 2 teams from each conference made this regional, as we only had 2 conferences in the region. So we have the Great American South winner, Arlington Baptist, taking up the North runner-up in Missouri S&T, with the North winner, Washington St. Louis, taking on Houston Downtown. 3 teams there made the regional last year, and Arlington Baptist is a new team, but they've showed up and put their name on the map right from the start.
Okay, good stuff. And who was the winner of that region last year?
The winner of the Great American last year was
S&T.
You asked me too quick. Oh, S&T, yes.
Okay.
So they're there to defend their title.
Where's this? This is in Arkansas.
Arkansas, Red Kansas. Springdale High School is actually University of Arkansas's club team's home field is what they use. So that's kind of how we got the hook up there. Their coach is very supportive and excited to have us, and have nothing but good things to say.
All right. Well, take us to the next regional.
New England region back in Cortland, New York at the Gutcha Slumber Sports Complex. New team, number 1 seed Syracuse, taking on another first-year team in Fairfield in the 1-4, and then the 2-3 is Fordham in New Hampshire. Both of those guys, regional teams last year. Fordham made the World Series. And from what Antonio tells me, a lot of good pitching on both those teams.
I was at a regional talking with a dad. His daughter played for Cornell, who was playing at the regional, but his son plays for Syracuse's club team, and he was excited about going out, back-to-back regionals. But Syracuse, a team in our league for many years, took a break, went somewhere else, came back, and obviously succeeding. Is this our first year back in the NCAA?
First year back, yeah.
Yeah, so happy to have them back and succeeding very early on. Hopefully they'll get back up to that Division I level.
Right. When they came on board, they were very excited, promised that they were going to put a good product on the field, and ever since the preseason poll, they've backed it up. So excited to see what they can do here.
All right. What do we got next?
Next, the new pen at the Shawnee Sports Complex in Charleston, West Virginia. Nice complex where we run a fall tournament every year, so they're very familiar with us and what we do. The number 1 seed Ohio State taking on Cal U, and the 2-3 matchup is West Virginia and Old Dominion. So actually, Ohio State Cal U is a regional final rematch from last year.
And your Mountaineers.
And the Mountaineers, yes. They made it. They edged out Cal U for the conference this year. But Cal U, the at-large bid, very strong team as always. So excited to see what happens in this region, too.
Cal U was the team that came out of that region, went to the World Series last year, right?
Yes.
All right. What's next?
Next up is Northern Plains at Waupun High School in Wisconsin, another field that's very familiar with us. Beautiful high school turf complex. Number 1 seed Grand Valley State taking on at large bid Creighton, and the 2-3 is St. Thomas and Wisconsin Lacrosse. A lot of new faces this year. St. Thomas made the regional last year, but that is it. 3 teams that were not in it last year looking to make their mark and try to make it to Illinois.
Grand Valley State, another program you're seeing a lot of.
In basketball,
softball, now baseball. So
yeah, I saw them at spring training. They're a good program.
Good
yeah,
for
they've
the
had
Lakers.
an
Strong team. I've never seen Creighton play. I'm very interested to see what they have to offer. But Grand Valley looks sharp down in Panama City Beach.
Right. Yes, they've had an excellent year all year. Kind of a similar story to Syracuse. Have been in the poll ever since the preseason poll and have never left.
All right. One more in the D2.
2. We will have the Pacific and then the Rocky Mountain. Pacific going to Heritage Park in Henderson, Nevada, where we also hold our Spring Training West event. Number 1 seed Grand Canyon will take on Cal State Northridge, and in the 2-3 it is Cal Miramar and Sacramento State. 2 new faces here. Sacramento State and Cal State Northridge were not in the regional last year. The other 2 were. So excited to see if anybody can knock off the defending national champion Grand Canyon.
All right.
Like it.
I was so impressed with them at the national championship, D2 national championship game last year. I was shocked they were a D2 team, but then they have a D1 team. So.
Well, hey, the D1 team's only ranked number 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, got to talk to Coach Kim last year, and he actually told me during the World Series that next year we're going to be even better. So far, that has lived up to the hype.
All right.
To round it off, Rocky Mountain region at Richard V. Hansen Ballpark in Smithfield, Utah. This is actually where Utah State Club team plays their home games. We have number 1 seed Air Force taking on Washington State, and the 2-3 is CSU Pueblo and Metro State. That Pueblo Metro State game is interesting because they're pretty close in proximity, although they're in different conferences. So they play each other and see each other a lot all year. So I'm sure there's a ton of familiarity there.
Okay. Well, hey, sounds like an exciting weekend coming up of NCBA Division II baseball playoffs, which are going to lead with 8 teams punching their ticket to Alton, Illinois for the D2 World Series. Let's
Moving on.
Yeah, let's move on to some D3.
Division
Give us an
3
update on
playoffs.
the D3 playoffs.
Yes.
Also taking place this weekend.
Yes. District 2 playoffs. So this is a best of 3 between the two conference winners in District 2. The North was won by York in Pennsylvania, and the South by George Washington. Looks like it's going to be a 2-game set if we make it to Game 3. It's going to be a best of 3, and I do not see a field location there. I don't know if the home team's hosting that or what. But
yeah, I think the higher seed hosts those.
So George Washington's hosting. G-Dub's hosting York. G-Dub's the home team for Game 1.
That's what it looks like.
York's the home team for Game 2 at GW. And then the if necessary game, George Washington would be the home team again.
Yeah.
Okay. Also taking place this weekend. All right, next up.
District 3. This looks like our D2 regionals where it's a 4-team double elimination format. We got 1 seed Oakland taking on 4 seed Cleveland State and 2 seed Kent State versus 3 seed Saginaw Valley. Nice to see Kent State and Cleveland State both make it as their first-year programs.
Nice.
Moving on to the District 4 playoff bracket, another best of 3. Milwaukee School of Engineering will be hosting Wisconsin River Falls. Also going on this weekend with the winner moving on to the World Series in Pullman Park. And District 1, I think this is our last one. Maine actually hosting Rhode Island in another best of 3.
Doesn't Rhode Island have like 3 club teams?
2. They do. They have one in Division 2 and one in Division 3.
All right, good stuff. Well, look forward to seeing how that all shakes out as they prep for the D3 playoffs this weekend, and then the top 4 teams heading on to the D3 World Series in Butler, Pennsylvania. My money, Kent State.
Yeah?
D3 national champions. That's my guess.
Oakland.
Yeah?
They've won it before, right?
You're thinking football.
Am I?
Yeah.
Well, now they all play baseball.
Now they all play baseball.
That's right.
All those champions on the football field now play baseball.
Yeah.
I know. I got a feeling Kent State's gonna come out on top on that one, but we'll see. Got to come watch it. Come to Butler, Pennsylvania. Get through regionals first, then Butler, Pennsylvania for the D3 World Series. Hey, so let's slide back to D1 real quick because it's the last weekend of the regular season coming up, and there's some big matchups in store for teams trying to get into the playoffs. Let's go through those matchups real quick.
Yeah, Nebraska sitting at 10-1 versus Missouri 9-2 in the Mid-American South. Whoever comes out on top of that series will be control their own destiny, and I'm not sure if they'll clinch the conference or not, but they'll be on top. In the North Atlantic North, we have UConn and UMass. Same idea there. Whoever comes out on top in the series will be in the driver's seat. And then NC State, App State. I am told that if NC State sweeps the series, that they will clinch over East Carolina.
Yes, they will clinch their conference over East Carolina.
And then that leads us on to the next game, East Carolina and UNC Wilmington. East Carolina needs that one to stay within second place in their conference.
And keep a large bid possibility. So big game for ECU there. Big series for NC State. They really need to not let their guard down. Because, as you can see there, if NC State drops 1 to App State and ECU wins, they're
no longer in charge.
Right. And ECU ends up with a 11-4 record. NC State could end up with a 10-5 record. Despite having 2 wins over ECU, ECU would be the conference champ.
Yep, very easy to look ahead there. So
yep, got to take it one game at a time and go out and throw up W's. All right, good stuff. That's exciting matchups for this weekend as the D1 regionals take place, not this weekend, the following weekend. But let's dive into a little bit of an update as to who has clinched in the D1 regions.
Yeah, so we have Georgia in the South Atlantic West, South Carolina in the South Atlantic East, LSU in the Gulf Coast East, Colorado in the Mid-America West, UC Davis in the SoPac West, Cal Poly in the SoPac North, and Notre Dame in the Great Lakes South.
And those are just the new additions in terms of teams that have clinched from our last show.
Right.
All right. Some big-name teams there. LSU at the World Series last year. Cal Poly, obviously, at the World Series last year. I'm excited. I want to see Notre Dame.
That's
on that national stage a little bit.
What I was getting ready to say. It doesn't surprise me that they're a postseason team. We saw them at Battle Creek this fall, and they looked very sharp.
Their varsity team's been successful the last few years making regionals and things like that, so I don't know.
Look at those UC Davis Aggies out there. Remember, Christian, you used to be their regional director.
Hey, man, a decade.
Two.
Almost 2 decades. But, yeah, I mean, that was my first I still remember Chris Shively was their ace who threw just hot, stinky cheddar. And, UC Davis Aggies, their club softball team we'll get to, but they qualified for the World Series. So, yeah, some fond memories running the SOPAC way back when.
All right. Well, thanks for the update, Jimmy, on everything that's going on with the D1 playoffs that are coming up. Any housekeeping items that baseball teams need to be focused on right now?
Yeah, first thing being the paperwork for next year. All teams should have received that. It's much easier to get that done while you're still in school. So as you're finishing up final exams and everything else, try to do everything you can to get that in before you leave for the summer. And then the second item is All-American forms have been sent out. I've already gotten a handful of submissions, but keep them coming. Get them in. We don't want you guys to be left out. We want to honor and show everybody what you guys have done all year, and when we get to picking all regional teams and all Americans.
All right, good stuff. Well, thank you, Jimmy. We appreciate it. I think we're going to turn our attention now to softball and our softball guru, VP of Softball Ops, Christian Smith. Hey, congratulations. You just got through 8 regionals this past weekend.
By the skin of our teeth.
With some weather issues,
yes.
But you got them all done. You've got 16 teams heading to Columbus, Georgia. Take us through this weekend of regionals.
Yeah, really, really exciting weekend. We did have some weather affecting, I think, about 6 of the 8 regions, but we got them all in. The first we're looking at is the Great American, and shout out to Jamie Wilson, the Great American Regional Director. Both the Great American Regional Tournament and the Great Lakes Regional Tournament were held in Elkhart, Indiana. And also a big shout out to the people of Elkhart and the field crew. The weather wasn't great out there. They had to stop early on Saturday because of weather. Got picked up early Sunday morning. But Jamie and the people out in Elkhart did a great job getting these games in. And these were the only 2 regions that needed the if necessary game. But really, really competitive games out here. Really talented teams out here. Michigan State coming out on top, beating Illinois in the if necessary game. So both those teams will move on to the NCSA World Series. Both, big programs and not accustomed to making the World Series. So excited to see those 2 teams come down. They're really, really excited about it. In the Great Lakes, we had another if necessary game, but we just talked about them earlier on the baseball side. Grand Valley State, the champions, taking down Wisconsin. Really, really happy for Grand Valley State. They were a team that sat in second place for most of the year, and they're behind Central Michigan. The last weekend of the season, they played Central Michigan for all the marbles, and they swept Central Michigan. Central Michigan did earn the at-large bid to the Great Lakes tournament, but Grand Valley State, a team that I'm really excited to see how they compete on the national stage, but certainly taking down Wisconsin, a really, really good team.
Wisconsin was impressive last year at the World Series with being a younger program, a new program. They came in, battled hard, really showed what they could do, and they were excited to take it as a learning experience and really build off their program. So despite being runner-up in the Great Lakes, I think they can make some big noise down in Georgia.
Yeah. In the Mid-Atlantic, again, another region that was affected by rain. We had to get this all done in one day. Sunday was not looking good, so hats off to Mike Battaglia, who ran this. But a really, really competitive region. Some really big-name programs. Virginia Tech, obviously, our defending champion. Winning this by defeating the at-large bid, James Madison University, in the championship game. But talking with Mike, it was just a really great tournament. The fans were awesome. Everybody had a good time. Excited to see Virginia Tech and James Madison making their way down to Columbus, Georgia. Virginia Tech, the Hokies, get the opportunity to defend their title. So we'll see how they make that make their trip happen. In the Mid-America region, Lacey, Lautner had, one of those regions had great weather, but Iowa got to talk with Lacey. I mean, Iowa was a team that, they were kind of under the radar until they went down to Panama City Beach, where they played
Swing in the Spring.
Swing in the Spring, where they played Illinois, they played Wisconsin, they played some big name teams, beat them all.
Florida
State, and made some headway in the top 20, and then people started talking about them. They then lose 2 out of 3 to Iowa State in a conference series, but were able to beat, I believe, Kansas the last weekend of the regular season to win the conference. But they came and just look at that championship game. Air Force isn't a slouch. Winning that game 24-5 to make it down to Columbus, Georgia. Obviously, Air Force runner-up. They will also be competing, but talking with Lacey, they can hit the ball. So excited to see how they do down in Columbus. Should be a really, really exciting group of girls to watch. So excited to see them compete. Next, in the North Atlantic, you see that bracket's a little bit smaller. We did have to move to a single elimination. Field conditions were not great. We didn't have lights and had the bad weather in the forecast. So this was basically our only options. I want to shout out to the teams for being flexible, understanding, patient. We had changed the schedule about 6 times. The umpires were great with being flexible. So I thank everybody involved in the field crew. I got to the fields at 6:30 on Saturday morning and was pretty concerned. I stepped on the field and foot went down about 2 inches, but they got it ready. We played on one field at 11 a.m. They got one field ready, and then the other field was ready at noon. But in the North Atlantic, you see Sacred Heart, our number 1 team overall, in the top 20, number 1 seed at the tournament. They win the North Atlantic, taking down Penn State 8-1, and Penn State Sacred Heart will move on to Columbus, Georgia. I know Ray and the Sacred Heart girls are really, really excited. I came up just a little bit short last year, so they're excited to show what they're made of down in Columbus. In the New England region, we have Maine over top UConn. Maine, a team that traveled, I want to say it was like 12 or 13 hours down to Danville. So they were really excited that we were able to play, obviously. But they take home the hardware, beating UConn in a really great championship game, 7-6. But both Maine and UConn will also be down in Columbus competing. In the Pacific, in Yuba City, California, UC Davis, the champions out there, taking down Oregon in the championship game. Talking with Rashad, who ran that event. Really, really competitive games, and really 4 really, really good teams. But UC Davis, the team coming out on top, both UC Davis and Oregon are really, really excited about making their trip to Columbus and competing. And then last but not least, the South Atlantic. It's always just a hard-fought tournament down in the South Atlantic. Some just really, really, really good softball teams. Florida State, NC State, Clemson, Georgia. Clemson wins it, beating Georgia in the championship game. Clemson was the at-large bid to that tournament and came out on top, and excited to see those 2 teams compete in Columbus. So
I'll tell you what, as you probably remember a decade ago, the real rivalry down there was Florida State. Those 2 were battling every year. One of them finished first, the other finished second, and they'd win a national title. The Clemson-Georgia rivalry that's stemmed the last 3 to 4 years has just become phenomenal in itself, too. So good to see both those teams. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw them on the national championship game.
They've battled hard all year. They're in the same conference. Georgia ended up winning that conference, but Clemson took 2 of 3 from them in conference play. Obviously, they battled a few times in the regional. And just talking with Natalie and Mary, the presidents for both those clubs, they consider themselves friends. They've worked so long together, communicating about games and things like that they've developed a healthy rivalry with one another. So, excited to see them down there. Should be a lot of fun. And then let's bring up the pool play schedule has officially been released. You see the 4 pools there. I'm really, really excited about it. The seeding. Let the teams know. We looked at conference win percentage, overall win percentage, top 20 ranking, and then total games played, each of those getting 25% weight. And that spit out the 1 through 8, the regional winners, and then we ranked the regional runner-ups 9 through 16. Those spit out those seeds, and that is how the pools shaked out. And, looking at each pool, it's you got a lot of just really good softball teams. So it's going to be exciting. Pool play, it's not make or break, but it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be a really, really exciting tournament. Just knowing that these 16 teams, I don't think there's any slouches.
There's no easy road.
No, there's no easy
all.
road. So each pool is very competitive, and it should be an absolute blast. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to I know the teams. I haven't been to a World Series, softball World Series since. I don't even know when the last one was. A long time, but I just know I wasn't able to make it last year, but I just being at the regional, it's they have fun. They're competitive, but they enjoy it. They're respectful, and I keep saying it's just a lot of fun. So I'm excited to see it. So I hope they're excited.
I'll be down there with you. Lacey will be down there with us.
Yep.
Looking forward to hitting the van, taking a little road trip down to Columbus, Georgia, and that's just what
about 2 weeks. Yeah, about 2 weeks away. We'll be hitting the road. So.
All right, so be sure to follow all the Softball World Series action. It's set to begin in just 2 weeks.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap things up for softball?
Just some housekeeping items for the World Series participating teams. Make sure to book your hotel rooms. I know I've been getting updates from teams saying that they've got their rooms booked, so thank you for that. But to the general NCSA public, the big thing is the LPAs, the registration forms. Those are in your inbox. Please get those signed and filled out and sent back. Those are due June 1st. All-American nomination forms are due back this Friday. I haven't gotten a ton. I know that's something we've wanted to work on for a long time. I don't know if everybody's kind of just waiting till the deadline, but it should take you not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes to fill out that form and send it over to us. So I'll be sending you a reminder. You should have actually got a reminder today. So get those turned in. We also have the academic All-American nomination forms out to you, but those aren't going to be due until May 26th, I think is when we assign the due date on that. That form takes 2 minutes to fill out as well, and you can nominate. A big question that I've been getting is you can nominate multiple people for one position. Anybody that has above a 3.0 cumulative GPA will be recognized for an academic All-American. So yes, you can nominate more than one player at a position. We just need that academic letter showing that everybody that was nominated does in fact have a cumulative 3.0 GPA. So that's in your inbox. We will have a league meeting date announcement coming up soon. And I think that's it. I think that wraps it up.
All right. Well, the last segment we're going to close with is NCFA football update. The Great Lakes realignment has been finalized this week. Pitt has left the North Atlantic, joined the Great Lakes East to make that a 4-team division within an 8-team conference. That schedule got released earlier this week. It's only Tuesday, so it must have been yesterday. And then the North Atlantic schedule with Longwood's under new leadership. They're back. So the North Atlantic, it's a 5-team conference. That conference schedule was released yesterday as well. So all the schedules are out there for conference-wise. Go to the NCFA website and check them out. We also are encouraging teams right now, now that the schedule's out, go fill your open weekends with non-conference games, whether with NCFA opponents or other teams that you have access to. But let us know as soon as you get those things scheduled so we can add them as non-conference games to the schedule. That's the big thing that we're working on the NCFA side right now. So I think that's going to do it for this week's show. We appreciate you tuning in to this episode of Suite 301. And as always, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Next episode is May 16th at 3:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Facebook Live. Join us then to catch up on everything that's happening around Cult Club sports.
And don't forget, it's a game.
Have fun.